world wakes up, a brand new stage, new promise written on the page. We saw the cracks, turned a new age, tore up the script, got out the cage. Dig deep, they can't be stopped. A solid truth that can't be topped. For every voice they try to drop, we rise up higher from the crowd. Just the beginning.
All right, it's just the beginning. Woo! Happy freaking hump day, y'all. I cannot wait for this stream because there are some dirty little rats, and we're going to be talking about the red flags that may have been overlooked in the IDAHO4 case. And if you are ready for it, let's get to it. So welcome in, everybody. I've had my coffee. Hello, Critter. Hello, Dina. Welcome back, everyone. Donna Rosa, good to see you, honey. And I've got Peony, Rebecca, good to see you. Red Cersei, Jess, Jackie. We've got some OGs in the house back in the day. Wow. True Sleuth, welcome in. I'm here to watch. Glad to have you here. Hello, Lulu Bell. Woo, we've got a lot of OGs in the house today. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up button, swipe down, hit it, swipe back up, and let's get into it. So we are ready to rock and roll. I hope you all love that new music. I really do. That is probably one of my favorite tunes yet. Every month we have a new song. And I can't believe we're halfway through the end of this month. It just drives me wild. Now I got to come up with another song. All these songs are from me. I've made them. So if you haven't heard most of them, I'm going to be putting a mashup together on YouTube so that you can hear them for yourself. So let's get started. But first, obviously, we come here to find the truth. Good afternoon, Nora. Happy hump day to you, honey. We all come here to find the truth in the documents, the evidence, the crime scene photos, the reports. We are looking everywhere for the truth. So welcome in, nesters. You know, I'm Phoenix, your host, and we're going to be diving into something that might be a little heavy for some. And we're going to keep it grounded, though. We're going to keep it respectful, and we're going to keep it honest. So before we go anywhere, I need to say this very clearly. This is a live speculation, commentary, opinion, and document-based discussion. We're not here to accuse anyone specific of a crime, not any one person. We're not saying any detective, officer, witness, student, family member, agency, or private citizen committed any wrongdoing. Okay, unless it's been proven in a court of law or official records. So when I use the phrase dirty little rats, I am using this as a metaphor. I'm talking about the little hidden gems, all those things that sneak through a case, tiny contradictions, loose ends, unexplained details, moments where we feel something is off, the things that hide in the walls of a narrative. Hopefully, if you pick up what I'm putting down, drop a 1, because these little red flags that have been missed, minimized, or basically ignored, they never have been fully explained to the public. So what I mean is that we're not here to harass anybody. We're not here to threaten anybody. We are not here to send anyone after anyone. We're not here to dox. We're not here to declare guilt. We're here asking questions, and we think critically. All right? So we're here to look at what's been released, what's not been released, and what's public knowledge on the internet. Whoop, whoop. And that could change over time. What the public was told and what doesn't sit right. So let me be clear. Yes, Brian Kohberger entered a guilty plea. He was sentenced by the court of law. That's official court outcome. But a plea does not erase the public's right to ask what happened in the investigation. A plea doesn't answer every forensic question. A plea doesn't magically explain every timeline issue, and a plea surely does not accommodate a witness issue, and every document issue, or every red flag. So tonight we're here to say, well, what's the answer? We're not here to say, here is the answer. The mission is to stay on task and the questions that deserve to see daylight, because all this stuff hidden in the dark is going to come out. Because Phoenix Talks is not about swallowing a narrative whole. We don't buy that narrative. We're here to talk about truth and logic. So, like I say, hold on. Let's slow this down and let's take a look again. So, nesters, get your notebooks out. Get your snacks, your drinks, grab your logic and your eagle eyes. We are going to do it. A red flag is not proof, but a pile of red flags is a reason to keep on digging. So I'm so glad every single one of you is here. Believe me, I am. We're going to get right to it. We're going to talk about all the dirty little rats in this case. And when I say dirty little rats as a metaphor, what comes to your mind? Who comes to your mind? If anyone comes to your mind in the IDAHO4 case, when I say dirty little rats, you know, not rats as in people, right? But things that gnaw at the foundation. Rats get into stuff and they gnaw at the foundation. All right? The little things that hide in the walls until one day you hear a scratch and you realize, wait a minute, something's been moving behind the scenes the whole time, right? Talk about a metaphor, because and I'm talking about every single major investigation out there, they're not always big headlines, but this one has been. There is an official timeline, which we've questioned. press conference versions, which we've questioned and watched in horror, the media version, which we've watched those and said, what the heck did she just say? And then there's this paper trail called ISP redacted reports, MPD redacted reports. And the paper trail is where the dirty little rats like to hide. And I've showed you quite a few. They're hiding in the wording. They're hiding in the missing reports, and they hide with inconsistent witness statements. They hide in the delay of justice. Yes, I said that. And I know you guys want to participate. So it's not me telling you what to think. It's me asking you to think. I want nesters to build their own theory on what I'm going to talk about. I want you to build your own questions. I want you nesters to say, that makes sense. Or Phoenix, I disagree. Or wait about this. Because that's how we find truth. Not by being told what we're supposed to believe, but by testing every piece, every document. Did investigators, let me ask you this big question. Drop a 1. Let me do a little widget. Let me do a little tiny poll. Okay. If you are into the Idaho 4 like I am, drop a 1 for yes, or 2 for no, or maybe even a 3, not sure. Maybe you're not as invested in this case as some of us are out there, right? So, have investigators overlooked red flags in this case? Drop a 1 for yes, a 2 for no, or 3 not sure. Everyone vote. Smoke and mirrors, scripted scenes, mass corruption, justice, delayed justice. Rats can't include people. They also have a foul smell. Italians dolt better. Got my sesame sticks and lemonade, sugar-free vitamin water. Ooh, yum. Let's see what this poll's doing. 75% says yes. 13% says no. 13% not sure. Get your votes in. I'm going to close out the poll. Did investigators overlook red flags? 1 for yes, 2 for no, 3 for not sure. Maybe you haven't followed this case from day 1, day 2, or day 165, or 397, or 618. So 83% of you, I'm going to close out this poll. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so 83% of you said yes. Investigators overlooked red flags. 8% said no, and 8% said not sure. Okay, so here's the deal. This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of these red flags. And what comes to my mind is yesterday on our members only stream, at the end of that 15 minutes, there was an interview on Connor's page. And it was about a 15-minute high-level overview with Pete E. And it got me thinking. Some of the red flags from these investigators, and I'm sure you guys agree, my stream is from day to day, so whatever happened yesterday may flow into today, and it's a consecutive stream of flow of conversation. And what if they did miss these red flags? I mean, we all have our number 1 red flag in the Idaho case. And it's not your wildest theory. It's not your emotional answer. What's your number 1 red flag? Drop it in the chat if you want. Because I'm getting a feel that a lot of people have different red flags, like your number 1 top red flag. Obviously, mine has always been these documents don't jive. They don't add up to anything. I mean, was yours the timeline, the 911 delay, the witness statements, the sheath, the vehicle, or maybe it's all. Maybe you can just drop all, because I would probably have to say all. There's not just one thing. They haven't ignored. They were instructed to stand down on certain items. Yeah, who gave them the authority? Whew. I'm going to get spicy up in here with the next topic, y'all. Dirty little rats. No testing blood DNA. See, the prosecution isn't going to test that DNA because the prosecution's job is to make Brian Koberger look guilty or prove he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they test it and don't get the results they want, they're not going to do it. The 911 call, yeah, the delayed call, everything. Demolishing the house has always been a good one, Private Gemini. My red flag has always been from the beginning, the 8-hour delay. They've just piled on. Italians dolt better. That too, Caleb. Yep, the 911 call. Investigators are involved. They muddy waters, run into every area life from city to city, hidden identities and foreign agents being hidden. Third eye not blind. You see. You definitely see. 8 hours, 911, medical examiner, falsifying documents. Now, I don't know about that. I mean, we can speculate, but her demeanor in her interviews are very suspicious. Yeah, gonna get spicy up in here. For me, is the absence of other families. It's weird, right? Yeah, we're gonna get into that too. So a lot of these awesome, amazing comments live in the Idaho 4 case still today. What do I mean by live? They live in our heads rent free, and we're still trying to figure this out. But before we dive into it, let's define what a red flag is. A red flag is not proof of innocence. It's definitely not proof of guilt. It's not proof of corruption, and it's not proof of a conspiracy. A red flag simply means to me something that should be carefully looked at or pause. Something that would make them say, let's verify that. Let's vet this. Something that should make them say, let's not assume. Let's document this clearly because someday somebody may need to understand why we did this or this. That's what a red flag is. And in a quadruple homicide, all these red flags times 4, times families, times all this matters because the stakes are freaking high. 4 young lives were taken. 4 families' lives were shattered. The community was traumatized. A defendant was accused and later pled guilty. And the public was only told a version of events. Can you imagine if just a smaller percentage of us would look at this case? Would it be able to survive mass scrutiny? And we're not trying to be troublemakers. We're not anti-law enforcement. We're pro-truth. Let me say that again. We're not against law enforcement. We are pro-truth. So good people, good investigators, good citizens ask questions. They challenge their own theory. So let's break it down. We're going to talk about a dirty little rat to speed up the narrative here. They interview people. They ask questions. But in the middle of asking a question, why don't they ever stop and clarify some of these questions they're asking? It's witness statements in human behavior, and that's one of the biggest debates that we're going to talk about today. And we're going to talk about an investigator that we heard from yesterday. Who is this Leslie Lehman with the ISP? Now, remember, we're not here to beat up anybody. We're not here to make it messy. We're here asking questions because this can get really messy. Now, she has been with the ISP for a very long time. She has witnessed accidents. She was off duty and witnessed a crash, and the suspect appeared in court in 2021 in Sandpoint. I'm giving you the background story of this ISP detective. Okay? That's it. And there's some other interesting...
Before you...
Dang it, I knew it was going to happen. Hold on a second. There's some other interesting information about this ISP detective. Okay? She is representing the Fraternal Order of Police for North Idaho troopers. She's giving a testimony in a court of law in regards to a bill in front of the Idaho Senate. Now, here's where this gets interesting, and this wasn't too long ago, folks. She's trying to get this bill passed to get more money for these ISP officers. And you can go through and look at their government salaries. You can go through and look at all this great stuff, right? But let's hear what she has to say about why she's involved and what her presentation was. I did it once again. Hold on one second. There we go.
I before you today because I'm taken aback by the number of unfilled positions within the ranks of our department. I am further concerned about the lack of experienced officers we have serving as first-line troopers. When I began my career, it was common to have a team of 6 troopers deployed at any given time within my district, the 5 northern counties. Within that team, there was at least 1 or 2 corporals who carried 15 or more years of experience. These more experienced line officers set an example for the new troopers. They served as I did as field training officers to troopers coming out of academy. This subordinate leadership was the first level of monitoring, ensuring new troopers were performing in accordance with law and policy. With each year that passes, we lose more of our commissioned staff to other agencies or to the private sector, thereby losing our pool of experienced troopers. This leaves our agency in a position where less experienced officers are training new troopers. In a high liability profession, this situation is alarming. Additionally, we are losing hundreds of thousands of dollars when a trained trooper leaves our ranks. The state of Idaho has paid for a background investigation, training cost, academy, equipment, and compensation package for a cadet. Once graduated, a trooper still has field training. Within the first 2 or 3 years, most troopers complete specialty trainings in topics like collision reconstruction or commercial vehicle specialist. When these highly trained officers leave, the valuable training and experience goes with them. I ask for your support of Senate Bill 1379, funding the Idaho State Police pay plan to recruit and maintain the high level of professionalism the citizens of Idaho expect from an Idaho State Trooper. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Right at 2 minutes. Any questions, committee?
Mr.
All right. So that gives you a little bit of background, a little bit of information on who this detective is. But there's more. Right? I can understand about standing up for the pay when they have all this invested in a cadet. And they're trying to pay the troopers more to stay, because if lots of these Idaho troopers, and it's been all over the news over there, Idaho State Police plead for more salary funding, because once these people begin to leave these jobs, then they have to outsource this to maybe in the future private organizations, which may be a benefit, maybe not. So they were basically saying that ISP troopers, the numbers have plummeted in recent years, leaving about a third of its patrol positions vacant. And to me, honestly, in my opinion, allegedly, this sounds like it's an internal problem, not just a money problem. Okay? There are large areas in Idaho without a single full-time trooper. That means hours of waiting. People are waiting for car accidents, and no troopers are available to respond when a call is taken about a drunk driver, according to ISP. There are no troopers in Moscow anymore. And when I read this, my little radar went up. Ding, 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 ding. Idaho State Police Colonel Bill Gardier told Idaho Statesman, we used to have 4, and now there's just nobody there anymore. Well, why do you think there's no troopers in Moscow? Let's talk about this. So I started digging into the reports a little bit more. Gardner said he has spent the last year talking with troopers who have quit and realized it's all come down to one thing: competitive pay. Ugh, what? After the IDAHO4, you're trying to tell me it's about competitive pay? What? They're flat out telling me, Colonel, I don't want to leave, but unfortunately I have to because I can go make so much more money over here and don't even have to move. I can just go work for the county. What? So you mean to tell me that those people in Moscow have just decided to go work for the county? What? Wow. And the Idaho State Police says a trooper with 5 years of experience makes $32.86 an hour. Lewiston's police department pays 5-year veterans, officers with experience, $40.80. That's about $7 more an hour. And Moscow pays $41.93 more an hour. $41.93 an hour. Almost less than $1, right? And then Coeur d'Alene pays $45.27 an hour. So they're all jumping ship to go work for these government entities, right? They're all jumping ship to go work for these other police departments. Like, it used to be like to get on the ISP or any state patrol, you were like, golden. Why would these people start leaving? And he specifically talks about Moscow. So they, kind of tried to get legislation in place. And this was something that I read about the legislation and what they've been trying to do to help. If you want to read this article, let me just drop it down below. This was just written in March 26, not too long ago, but I kept wondering, why do they keep talking about these troopers that have been leaving, right? Some of these troopers that have left, and we'll get to it. This is a pretty long explanation. Funding issues date back years, they say, like a long time. But then I'm over here looking at some of the things that, one of these ISP detectives has been involved in, and lo and behold, here's the actual legislation that they were pleading for more salary funding, and the legislation had been slow to help.
A tough one. I'm not sure how exactly. Apologize. Gotten a little loaded the last few days. What I'm about to do is tough. I'm pretty tired. That's why I'm getting emotional. I need some rest. I'm going to ask the committee to send it to general orders. I think at this point, 5's just too much. It's more than the state can handle right now. In the position that we're taking it out, taking a portion of it from the counties, I want to try and get everybody on board. I want the counties on board and the cities on board. And I think if we send it to general orders, and if we have to cut it to 2 or 2.5, what we can do with what other combinations we can come up with, I still think we need to try and get up into that 4 to 5 range if possible. But we need to do something. And I understand where the caucus is on this. And I think if we move forward in some way with that, let's send it to general orders, and with the idea of cutting it in half and seeing if the counties are at that point. And if we come up with other methods besides the ones that I've talked about, then we'll move forward with those.
Okay, so they are looking for funding, right? They're looking for funding, and they're saying, hey, why don't we just take $5 million annually to the and give it to the Idaho State Police from the liquor revenue? And I thought, whoa, that's going to really help, right? So obviously it is a money issue with the state internally. And I thought it's kind of odd that, and this was in 2019, but this Friday, our guest speaker is Leslie Lehman. We're going to have drinking cocktails, and we're going to talk about alcohol laws in the state of Idaho. Okay, I just had to throw that in there. All right, so let me just get into the rest of it. I want to stay focused today because you guys can really distract me some days. So if you don't know who ISP Leslie Lehman is, she was obviously talking, dialed up Peter E., who was the last person to see Ethan and Xana by his own statements and theirs. And if you don't know about the murder of Brian Drake in North Idaho, this should blow your mind. If you don't know the history of this case, please look into this case. So a chiropractor was shot through his office window. They did arrest the guy who they believed was the assailant. And his wife, Jennifer Drake, is still left with 4 teenagers between the age 13 and 19. And they are still seeking justice because, lo and behold, ISP Lehman interviewed the suspect. And I don't know if you guys know the whole story to this case. He basically walked away. Now, I'm not saying there was any wrongdoing. I'm just saying it was quite a coincidence that the 63-year-old man that was accused of murdering Brian Drake was let go and walked away from it. This case is wild. And she interviewed someone that they speculated that this witness was lying. This witness was lying. He'd been charged with the murder of Dr. Brian Drake. And sadly, this guy walked away. And you can go and look at some of the documents. Definitely. We'll probably talk about this case. But basically, the murder case against him was dismissed. We'll talk about this whole story. And it's just a really bad situation where maybe there was a little bit of dirty ratting going on, in my opinion. But she's one of the ones that did interview. One of the ones. And you can go back and you can look at her history of her involvement in some of these high profile cases. All right. And there is a crime solver central that I want to share with you right here about the story of Dr. Drake. He was in Bonner's Ferry. They did have a GoFundMe for him, and they're still looking for justice today in 2026. All right. So there's a little bit of history and a little bit of story. But this is the most interesting part when you start going through her interviews that she's conducted in the IDAHO4 case. And we are going to talk about it. Because that's what we do. We ask questions. It sounds like the IDAHO4 case. It's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's get into this document. Let me see if I can make this a little larger. So Idaho ISP document 81 is basically what you heard the 15 minutes yesterday. If you haven't heard the 15-minute interview with Connor, on Connor's channel, just type in on YouTube, Connor IDAHO4, his picture will pop up with the little, I think it's a golden retriever maybe. And the 15-minute interview is up there, and I will give you the link. This is basically it.
Today.
And I'll drop the link for you because I've got something planned later. You can go over to Connor and listen to that 15-minute interview. Come back to here if you want. And then we'll get into the big questions that I have in regards to her statements, her interviewing Peter E., right? So her first document I want you to look at is ISP 81. Now, you have to look at all the details in this, okay? You can't just overlook one small thing because that could change the whole narrative. But basically, she says, Leslie Lehman, along with ISP Trooper Kristen Noah, conducted an interview with blank, 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 blank. The interview is from tip 580. We're going to look at tip 580. Blank is a member and was identified as a close friend with Ethan. I conducted a phone interview on November 19th. And I went back last night to see how close this interview was to what we actually heard. Okay? So they label all the 4 victims and then 2 witnesses. One male from Washington, age 21, and the other male didn't even put details. So one male, 21, hometown is Washington, and then the other individual unknown. And it starts on November 19th, I did a phone interview. And that's the first thing that came to my mind is this wasn't on the 18th. It was on the 19th. Did anybody get that? Wrong day. Wrong day? Possibly. All right. In this report, all right, so let's get to the report. Blank was a member of the blank, 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 and it was identified as blank at the University of Idaho campus. The home was located in the Tri-Cities, Washington. When I called him, I asked blank about the party the night of November 12th. Obviously the Saturday night party, sorry. And he confirmed there was a party at the blank house and there was a guest list for the party. What house? He said there was a ratio of 2 guests allowed for every blank member, obviously a frat member. Blank explained the security measures the fraternity uses to avoid people being able to sneak into the party. The blank is in an area of the fraternity house where the events are held. It's probably the lodge. The party went from 9:30 to 1 typically, right? That's what we hear all along. And he said the party went well. He's spoken to members of the fraternity who saw Ethan and Xana at the party and believes that the last person to see Ethan and Xana was blank at the blank house. And I think that was Pete because she says in the beginning of her interview yesterday, Pete E was the last person to see Ethan and Xana. Blank recalled speaking to blank about Xana having never been to blank, 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 the neighboring fraternity. And I believe that somebody took Xana to that fraternity and separated Ethan and Xana. I mean, are you guys catching this? It's Pete. Are you guys understanding what is happening here? Non-members or those are no longer a part of the grief life. Yeah. Now, of course they can't get into the parties, but those who are still part of an organization can take other people into parties. So allegedly, Xana is off in somewhere else. So maybe Pete wasn't the last one to see Xana, but he was definitely the last one to see Ethan. Okay? So let's put the pieces together and ask the right questions. So Xana never went to the neighboring, she planned to visit a neighboring fraternity at the conclusion of the blank party, but it says Xana and Ethan didn't make it. And I thought, wait a minute, Pete saw Ethan. He never said that he didn't see Xana because Xana had taken a picture at 2 a.m. somewhere else playing the guitar, but no one knows where that was. It had to have been at the fraternity she's always wanted to visit. So now we have Ethan and Xana separated. We already knew that. Then now we have Maddie and Kaylee separated. We've known that because Maddie went outside with Bethany and Bethany went to go look for Murphy because Murphy was nowhere around and she left her phone upstairs. And then we know that obviously Kaylee was separated from Maddie. Now, let's get back into this statement. Blank was at the party but didn't remember seeing Ethan and Xana. Said the house members who remember seeing Ethan and Xana also included blank blank, who may have had phone contact with Ethan at 1:30. Well, according to Broken Plea, there was no contact because his friend, hold on a minute, tried to FaceTime him 5 times. What was the guy's name? Hold on a minute. Tries to FaceTime him 5 times. Cooper Atkinson attempts to call Ethan 5 times on FaceTime. No answer. No answer. So technically, Ethan's last seen with Pete. Blank confirmed there was no surveillance video in the house and said personal videos taken in the house are not supposed to be posted to the internet. We're talking about the frat house, the lodge. Blank confirmed the blank, 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 and all these redactions and those in attendance of the party on the 12th. Blank Ethan on Snapchat and said many other fraternity brothers would have his Snapchat. Blank's closest friends would be, Pete, Conrad, and whoever, his roommate. Blank believed the party was the last party of the campus. There may have been other parties after that at different fraternities or at, obviously, the Whites, right? Blank saw Ethan and Xana on the 11th and remembering have a conversation with Xana. Xana has never spoken to Blank about anything that was troubling her or having any issues with people at her apartment. This is the guy, the 21-year-old from Washington that is a witness. And Blank has never interacted with Kaylee or Maddie and believed the people he has listed would have known them better because of their relationships with Xana and Ethan. Xana would bring her to her housemate and they would all hang out, but they didn't remember ever meeting Xana's housemate. Blank. At 11:22 hours, this is where she dials on the phone and she gets Pete on the phone. Okay? Kristen Noah was also present for the interview. Pete was with Ethan and Xana at the party, which ended at 1 on the 13th at 2022. Following the end of the party, Ethan and Xana went to blank, 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 the number of the house. After Ethan and Xana gathered some items, right? He said a couple of beers and maybe a bag and a jacket, maybe. Including Blank's girlfriend, and returned to Blank with the blank house. Now, he believed the couple packed a couple beers in his dress jacket in his bag, and that was the last time that they saw Ethan and Xana. Ethan and Xana did not tell Blank where they were going after leaving, which is kind of odd, right? If you are in a fraternity and Ethan is, kind of like on the lower of the totem pole, and the president comes to you and says, "Hey, Pete, where's Ethan?" Well, I don't know. They're supposed to have some accountability for one another. Even though Ethan was not living in the frat house, there is still some organizational, like an emergency list, kind of like disaster preparedness, like the military does. You're on a call list. Somebody has to have authority over you. You have to know where this person is, and most times or all the time, right? And that's what the most important thing is they need to have accountability. If something happens to you, then you know the organizational loop that you have to go through for accountability. Especially if he was sponsoring, or maybe they had some like big little type of thing, or whatever they call them, bros, right? So I kind of find that odd that on the audio, it sounds so different than what she's typed up. The text versus the voice, and hearing it in his voice sounded so odd to me. And he only assumed that Ethan and Xana left on foot and returned at 1122 King Street. But he doesn't know. Okay? And if my friend was like so drunk, because we know from Ethan's autopsy, he was over the mark. And Xana was also. If I knew, yeah, definitely, Caleb, it's a protocol. If I knew that my two friends are walking home together and they are so drunk, I would make sure, if I was not that intoxicated, or I would get a Sobro to make sure they got home safe. Maybe that's just me, but anyways. So they go on to ask Pete, okay, he said a group went over to the blank following the party, but he did not see Anna, Xana, and Ethan. So Pete was still partying way into after the 1:30 when he says he saw Ethan. Pete didn't turn around and say he went to sleep or whatever. He was still partying. He went over to the following party and he didn't see Ethan and Xana. Said that Ethan attended the formal Hunga Dunga prior to the lodge party. And at the same, said the theme of the party was sports orientated. And couldn't recall exactly what Ethan and Xana were wearing at the parties. Now, remember, Xana wasn't going to the Hunga Dunga for the formal, for the Betty Ball for Ethan's sister Maisie. Only Ethan and Hunter went as their, I guess, dates, right? And he couldn't recall 4 days later, just seeing them an hour before, what they were wearing, which totally threw me for a loop. I don't know about you. That's another beautifully painted bright red flag to me. I don't know. Is that a red flag to you? Drop a red flag if that's one for you. And then Blank had a photo of Ethan at the formal party. Remember, he said he was going to get on his phone and send whatever he could find? Yeah, he was going to get on the phone and send whatever pictures he could to ISP Lehman and Noah based on the fact that he had pictures in his phone. Okay, I don't know about you, but I'm a picture taker. Picture of my food, picture of flowers, birds, my sourdough, my kids. I mean, we live in a digital world, folks. Let's use logic here. We use logic. Friends, taking pictures of girls, taking pictures of, and guys, it was not a sports orientated party. Okay? Wouldn't you be interested in some of the cool costumes that some of these kids had at the party? Wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be like, wow, that is a freaking cool outfit you have together. Now, it was said that Ethan was dressed up in a suit because he was some sports coach, right? And if he was a sports coach, you would be in a blazer and some jeans, or blazer and some pants that you just wore to the formal. And whether he had that sports coat, Peter said he picked it up, right? They picked it up and took it with the beers in Xana's bag. Now, taking pictures at parties is very common. Now, we know that they have the no, we can't let any videos, or they let pictures out of that Sigma Chi. They let pictures out of the frat. We see them all over the internet. So don't tell me that no one had any good pictures. I think that is a total red flag, in my opinion, about, well, I don't know what they were wearing. Out of all those people, he said that there were 2 people, one per person. They were doubled up, and times that by how many kids in the frat, that would be a lot of people in the lodge. We've seen some of those videos in some of those parties, right? There is a lot of people that you can fit into that lodge. There's definitely, yes, no talkie before coffee. There is definitely Snapchats out there. He said videos. We can't release any videos, but let me look through my phone and I'll just send you all the videos I have of that night. All right? And then they leave it with the standard, guys, I cannot make this up. They leave it with the standard. And what did they leave with? Well, I can't think of anybody who'd want to do this. They didn't have any enemies, and they didn't have any problems with anyone. Okay. Now, we've heard that there's been fights. We've heard that there's been arguments. We've heard that Ethan took a horrible picture with someone's mom who may have been passed out or asleep on a couch in a horrible way. But yeah, no one had any problems with anyone. That is another red flag. Somebody is not telling the truth, you dirty rat. Now, let me finish this statement 81 that she interviewed him. And Blank said about Xana regarding her being a happy person without enemies. And Blank has known Xana since his freshman year, so they've known these kids a while. I could not speak to issues with Xana's security around the area or her apartment. Blank felt that he would spend the night at Xana's due to the distance of his own apartment because he didn't, she was experiencing security issues at her, not because they were, having any issues with security. But why would Pete even say that? Why would he even say that? He had to have known about some instances. Pete was his best friend. Xana and them would party all the time together. When you are intimate like that and you share details, they knew. He had to have known. Was Ethan staying with Xana because there was some problem already? Perhaps. Speculating, of course. Now, Pete has met Kaylee and Madison, but did not know them very well. He said the same thing for Blank and Blank, probably Bethany and Dylan. I'm speculating here. Pete was last at 1122 King Street address on the Friday prior to the homicide. He spent 15 minutes to 20 minutes there playing Pong and then went to Blank. He said that in the interview. And Blank emailed me the Blank party attendance list and a timeline he established regarding the night of November 12th and the interaction with Ethan and Xana and the Blank members, probably the frat members. The documents were forwarded to ISB Detective Ryan O'Hare for further investigation. Okay, now, the audio in the interviews concluded the emails exchanged with Blank, and the screenshots of the text messages explained with Blank had been saved to a disk and will be given to the Moscow Police Department as an attachment to the supplement. Well, that's all legit, right? But see, here's my question. In a quadruple homicide investigation, why are there like 20 ISP officers doing all this paperwork, investigating them, taking statements? They're just interviews. They're not interrogations, folks. They're not interrogations. Wouldn't that be some red flag? Who reviewed these? Who put these together to come up with the suspect? You have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, or too many hands in the pot, in my opinion. Because it gets even better when you go to the next interview that ISP Leslie Lehman took. Suspect 1. There was a suspect, age 26, that she went and interviewed. Did you all know this? A 26-year-old suspect in Moscow. House was in Washington. Their driver's license was in Washington. And she interviewed him on November 18th, the day before she interviewed with Pete and the other person in Washington. Wild, right? This was suspect 26-year-old male. Of course, they block out all the height, born in 1996. But his driver's license was in Washington. And he had a girlfriend. And listen to this one. On November 18th, Detective Lehman and another new ISP, Detective Jacob Schwenke, interviewed Blank at his apartment in Blank, Moscow, Idaho. Blank was identified by Moscow Police Department officers as a suspect in the Blank 2022 incident. where he verbally threatened a female at the University of Idaho students on a sidewalk. Remember Knife Man? And she located his apartment. The interview was not audio recorded. Red flags away. You cannot make this up. You can't. And I think I put these out of order. Let me go and grab 96. No, actually it's right. Number 3, Blank said he was at work until 11:30. He met with his girlfriend at John's Alley Bar and was unsure of the times in the early morning after leaving the bar, but confirmed Moscow Police Department gave him and his girlfriend a ride home to her apartment because of her amount of intoxication. Blank walked home from the Blank apartment and remained in his apartment. And he woke up between 1 and 2 the next morning. Blank said Blank was in the apartment with him and was still there sleeping when Blank left in the afternoon hours. Blank said he learned of the homicides from the news. And Blank said Blank did not know the victims and did not spend time with the college students. Blank removed his sweatshirt, showing me his arms and his neck, and there were no marks on his arms, neck, or face. So they're still believing that obviously somebody was injured. But if there was more than 2 people, maybe only one of them was injured. Okay? Yeah, cops driving people home. Not Eric Gower. Nope. Isn't this strange behavior? Odd red flags. Them dirty little rats. And I read this and I thought, wait a minute, this guy, his girlfriend is severely intoxicated and the cops give her and him a ride home. So what happens when you're out and you're drinking and you're so intoxicated? You get home, snuggle up, you pass out. And if the guy didn't pass out, how does she know he didn't sneak out of the house? Right? But yet the cops were like, hey, this is suspect number 1. Suspect number 1. Who was that? I thought it was very interesting. And he even verbally threatened a female University of Idaho student on a sidewalk. Interesting, right? But no. He was asleep. He was still sleeping in his apartment. Oh, can't make this up. And so here is one more statement, interview, that she goes over the day before. And you know I like to work backwards. November 17th. She's sitting with another detective, Cody Herman. And they responded to Pullman, Washington, where they go and they meet with the store manager. They want the receipts and the footage of a store member history were provided by Blank regarding many visits made to the store. And this suspect 2, mind you guys, this is now suspect 2, in the original early days. Okay? Before Brian Koberger was thrown into the mix. Way before. Let me grab a drink of water. Now, get this. 22-year-old out of Boise. Wonder who this could be. Okay, so we get into the document. On the 17th, they go and they talk to the store manager. And they go in at, talk to the store manager. And the store manager says he visited on November 13th at 10:49. Who went to Washington that morning? Who went and left and went to Washington? Does anybody remember that they said they left? They tracked his purchases through a receipt and a store membership program. They provided printouts to the detectives, and his purchasing started in September 4th, 2022. Okay? This was a 22-year-old. Very convenient, right? But get this. Using the timestamp on the receipt, the video footage was reviewed. He could be seen in the parking lot in front of the store exiting a black BMW. What in the Holly Berry? Right? What? He was seen parking in front of the store exiting a black BMW. Well, who can afford some black BMW going to the University of Idaho and lives in Boise, folks? You can put those two together. No one's hiding that one, okay? No one is going to be hiding that little detail right there that they didn't redact. And he was dressed in a University of Idaho gray sweatshirt, black pants, and wearing a brown beanie as always. I took still shots of the video and forwarded them to FBI agent Rob Healy. Whoa, FBI Rob Healy seems to be picking up all the time in these documents, picking up the slack. Overton was provided a USB to preserve requested video. Overton. They didn't redact that baby. I'm telling you, all these red flags, right? Oh my gosh, I can't make this up. So anyways, and then it said on November 17th at 11:53, I retrieved the USB from the drive and sent the paperwork and gave it to Agent Hilly. And photos and copies of the documentation I collected will be saved and provided to Moscow Police Department as part of this supplement. And that was Leslie ISP Lehman. So now you know some history of the actual individuals in the IDAHO4 case, right? Can we honestly say, yeah, we know? Well, there's one more, folks. Just one more left. And yeah, I'm not sure I want to look her up. So just one more, 77. And I thought this was very interesting. It goes into obviously all the victims, but on the 17th, they go in with a new detective, Brittany Clark with ISP. And this is when she's walking out the door and the last two occupants in the building basically say they spoke with knowledge of the victims in the case. 4 victims, once again, 77 is the document, and basically say, here's wild. Something that they didn't do in this document that I noticed, they didn't redact what vehicle was taken and then released. It was a black Mazda. Now, I don't know who owned a black Mazda, but it was a male. Their birth date was in 2004. So they sit down and they go to Idaho. And Blank was walking out the door and told me that he was the last of 2 occupants in the building. All the others had left to return home on the 17th, just days after this. He said he was on his way at a Blank game over the weekend. He was gone and said most of his fraternity brothers were gone and that they were mostly out of town and Blank was out of town. So the last occupant in the building came to the front door to speak to me. He said he knew the female victims and they'd been to his fraternity house on many occasions. So obviously I was thinking this has got to be Sigma Chi, right? And he said he's a Blank and he saw the victims of the night prior to the homicide and he believed the video evidence from the grub truck had been secured by law enforcement but couldn't recall anything that would be helpful right? He's got CRS too. CRS is can't remember shit syndrome. I should say CRSS. So on November 18th, the FBI staff was given the previous information and agreed to start calling all the members of, obviously, the frat to secure information and location. It was discovered that Blank was still in the area. I called Blank and he agreed to meet with me at his residence located in Moscow on the University of I campus. So this is somebody who lives on the campus. And Detective Schwenke, a totally different one, sits down and says he's no longer a member of Blank anymore. Well, why would somebody be no longer a member of the Blank anymore if he was just a member of the Blank before? Said he knew Ethan, and he was a Blank, and he knew Xana, and he attended parties with her. He knew Kaylee through his girlfriend. Blank knew Kaylee through his girlfriend. And Blank knew victim Maddie through his blank, blank, blank. He said he was totally inebriated on the 11/12/22. He remembers seeing Kaylee and Maddie at the club, at the corner club, but he wasn't sure of the exact times. He thought it was like 1 o'clock. He was picked up by a sober bro and thinks he went to the Blank convenience store and purchased alcohol from the blank blank, took Blank home. He spent the rest of the evening. Why would a sober bro drive you somewhere else to get alcohol? Is that like typical? He spent the rest of the evening at home with a roommate and his girlfriend and her friend. The last time Blank was at the crime scene was last spring of 2022. He considers blank blank a good guy and knew he was not in Moscow the weekend of November 12th, 2022. On the 18th, I called Blank, birth date 2024. He was in Boise, but agreed to speak to me on the phone. The phone was recorded. He confirmed he was the sober driver. Who is this sober driver? On the evening, and basically he uses his phone and riders send him text or gives calls for rides. He says he uses his own vehicle and it's an Idaho plate, blank, blank, blank. He said that night consisted of riders to the football game, to the apartments, blank, 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 and back to the Blank house, and also confirmed he returned blank, blank to their home, blank, blank. Said the party at the Blank appeared to have 20 to 30 people, but he didn't go into the party. He gave a verbal rundown of his text messages and who he gave rides to. Notably, Blank said he gave a ride to Blank, to the Blank at 9:30. He said everyone he gave a ride to returned back to the Blank house. He confirmed he returned to blank blank and blank blank to their home, and said Blank was the only person he gave a ride to blank at 9:30. He did not give Blank a ride to his home off campus. He didn't give a ride to the guy that said he had a ride. He knows Blank lives near the homicide scene in an apartment. This was to the extent of my inquiries, and that was it. And I've given a copy to the Moscow Police Department. Well, who do you think this person was, guys? Who do you think this person was? A sober bro said he dropped him off, and basically sober bro said, hey, he was the only one that I got a ride. He didn't spend time with his roommate and his girlfriend. Why did this person just lie and they got away with the lie? Just like the red flag in the lie with the 19-year-old in the case of what? Oh, we're going to go through the Brian Drake crime because there was a 19-year-old in that crime that she interviewed, and he seemed to have foobarred and lied, allegedly, in his witness statement. And this guy totally walked. This is mind candy. Yeah. Similarities, and it seems to be these players. Yeah. Why not? Where's the digital evidence again in this case? Where is all the digital evidence? And who do you think that suspect was? They're never going to tell us. But we knew who was driving a BMW. I have no idea who was the other suspect out of Washington that possibly drove a Mazda. Car was released. Says they were witnesses, but then this one says he was suspect number 2. And the one before said it was suspect number 1, which we kind of have an idea who suspect number 1 is, but we can't say that name. We can't say that name or else we'll get in big, big trouble, folks. Who would do this to these kids? Who would do this? It drives me bonkers that all these redactions, and why do they keep protecting certain individuals? The grifters are the same, but change the fit the roles they are played to portray. Gosh, there's just way too many Jacks in this case, guys. Way too many. Were these 2 separate incidents? Perhaps. Perhaps. But here's what I want to do. Now that we have the background and we have the history of ISP Lehman and the history of cases that she has been involved in, let's go back one step and let's go watch the interview that she took on December 5th. Now remember, December 5th was around the same time, allegedly, that this whole debacle happened. Let's listen to this interview. Let's see what we can glean from this interview. And if you see a red flag, drop a red flag in the chat and I'll stop it. And let's discuss the red flags. We're here to ask these questions. We're not here to be so blind that we cannot ask questions. How did that sound? Drop a 1 if you're on board with that.
December 5th, 2022, 1:32 p.m. Detective Joe Lake. Today I'm meeting
Now,
his
this
best
is
friend
a new detective, Joe Lake.
to Ethan Chafin, the victim. Again, sorry. So as we were beginning to say, did anything jump out at you while you're filling out the questionnaire and you started to say?
Yeah, the fact that we hung out that night before that Friday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Friday at the victim's house. We just sat there and hung out.
What? We hung out at the victim's house? You're supposed to be really good friends with this Ethan guy, and you just said the victim. Does this make sense? We just sat there and we hung out. What? I have a feeling we're going to find a lot of red flags. I have that feeling. All right.
32 p.m. Detective Joe Lake. Today I'm meeting his best friend to Ethan Chafin, the victim.
Best friend.
Sorry. So as we were beginning to say, did anything jump out at you while you're filling out the questionnaire and you started to say?
Yeah, the fact that we hung out that night before that Friday, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Friday at the victim's house. We just sat there and hung out. And
Who were you there with?
we were there with Xana, Ethan. Was there one of the girls that lived there?
Redacted. I think he said turn.
That's all I can remember.
You don't remember Madison and Kaylee?
I don't remember if they were there.
Okay. How old are you? Okay, so you aren't quite getting in the bars unless you got a fake
No,
ID.
right.
Just so you know, if we talk about anything outside of the homicide that may be illegal.
Wait a minute. Did he just say fake ID? Hold on.
That's all I can remember.
You don't remember Madison and Kaylee?
I don't remember if they were there.
Okay. How old are you? Okay, so you aren't quite getting in the bars unless you got a fake
No,
ID.
Okay, he did. He said, so you aren't quite getting into bars unless you got a fake ID. What the heck? What in the world? There is that fake ID. The same one that's in, obviously I caught that a long time ago. And obviously it's in the book Among the Bros. Holy moly. You guys, I can't make this up. Is this like a common fame Is this like what happens across America in colleges? Wow.
Just so you know, if we talk about anything outside of the homicide that may be illegal, illicit, or anything else, I don't care.
I know.
I don't. All I care about is
I don't care.
finding the person responsible for killing a friend and his roommate, well, and his friends.
Even if I were to get a MIC or whatever, I wouldn't give a shit as long as I'm just helping out with this shit.
We appreciate that very much. I'm giving you, call it this way, an immunity.
Yeah.
All right, if that's makes any sense to you. So
Wait a minute. These kids who carry backpacks of beers around, buying it illegally, ATF would have a field day at these colleges. I'm just saying, in my opinion.
you probably noticed by some of the questions kind of where I'm going with this question here, and you probably have an idea of some of the questions I'm going to ask you as we review it together.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have some open-ended kind of questions for you as well. Okay, I'm pretty transparent.
No,
If there's anything that you got questions about, by all means ask. But before I get into all of that, I want to share something with you, just because I think there's a misconception by some. Others, I think, recognize it for what it is. But the media has created a problem.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something. That's probably been the hardest thing for me is the media, listening to all the media and seeing all the shit on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok even. It's insane, and it's so much of it. 99% of it is miscued and wrong.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say something, but I'm like, what's it gonna do?
That was going to be my advice for you: is don't chime in, because there are so many trolls out there and other people that they will target you. They will go after you. But the media, one of the reasons they create problems. Now,
Remember, this is on Connor's channel. I'll drop the link below just so you have it.
They've been briefed, and they're regularly briefed.
Yeah.
But they turn around and they provide misinformation, or they only pick snippets of that information and they run with their assumption of the information, is, again, to create a problem. And when they can create a problem, they have to be the provider of that solution, right? So therefore, you must stay tuned in, because they're going to provide that solution eventually. And, if it just wasn't for all these pesky, procedural things and legal things, they should just tell us everything. Right. And reality is, when we do find the suspect, and we will, and we take them to trial, the information needs to be organic, needs to be consolidated to every person's personal knowledge. And as I like to tell people, my job as a detective is to extract information from you, not to feed you information. I know that may sound maybe harsh in a way.
No, it's
But yeah, imagine if I was defense attorney and I had you on the stand and I went, where did you learn this? And you say, well, Detective Joe Lake, when I sat down, he told me all about these things. You would immediately be excused, right? Your testimony is no good, because it's not your knowledge. It's knowledge that you have been fed or gleaned, which taints your testimony.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So
makes sense.
That's the whole reason why information is not released in criminal investigations, is because they do go to trial, right? You have to preserve the integrity of the investigation.
Even if the guy's the one that did it, he still has to go to trial.
Right. He has due process. I mean, that's, the great thing about our Constitution, and maybe our kind of downfall too, is, they have that right. So, questions for me?
No.
All right, let's jump in.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. You probably can't tell me anything. What's going on? Huh?
I can tell you a little bit, maybe.
What can you tell me?
Well,
what do you guys know anything? Because it kind of keeps me up at night.
I bet it does.
I'm having a hard time sleeping.
Wait a minute. I'll take a hard pass on my comment. I'll just wait.
I moved out of the rest of the semester and got an apartment.
So he moved out of the frat and got an apartment? Is that what he said? Or was he removed from the frat? Did he quit? Does anybody know?
I can give you kind of high levels. I can tell you, like I mentioned before, I've never seen such a team assembled. When I arrived in here, I actually got back in Idaho on Wednesday night and started in on the investigation. But Thursday I was boots on the ground here, and I'd never seen a team assembled like that. And we had resources pouring in from around the state, around the nation.
Just the numbers of people, or
the numbers of people, their CVs, their background, they're truly subject matter experts in, whether it be data mining, or warrant process for cellular towers. I mean, literally subject matter experts came in. We brought them in from around the nation. Moscow PD is about 35 officers. Right. We in the state police, we're about 300, and we're made up of several branches. Primarily patrol is what we're known for, but we have about.
Basically, in a nutshell, he's telling them we're going to catch these people. That's basically what he's telling him.
50 detectives, 60 actually, throughout the state, and I'm one of those. And then, of course, we brought in the FBI to augment us. So the case is being run by Moscow PD with state police running it, and then the FBI in support. And at any given time, there's about 100 people working on this, and we're working 24/7. So much so, I mean, most of us, we're just down with this, whatever is going on, cold or whatever, but we're.
Now, I just got to address some of these comments. I mean, you guys are like spot on. Okay. I don't remember. Okay. That was the last one. Why do they babysit these subjects? My fear is that DM was offered immunity for her scripted statements. Yeah, I roll big time because they're protecting them and they know their family. Fake IDs are pretty much common among college kids. Yeah. I had no idea about all this going on in college. This is wild. A little business, a little side hustle, a little criminal side hustle before you get onto the real working world, right? The right connections, legacy, and the rich have connections. This one never was going, this one was never going to go to trial. Mind games, downfall. I bet it does. Oh, brother, investigate this cop. Joe Lake has been around for a long time, folks. Yeah, a long time. The irony of due process, right? And yes, I agree. He's leading him, but he's also telling him in a nutshell, we've got hundreds of people that are going to find out who this person is, who these people did this. And this is the guy who's seen the victim last, his best friend. Whoa. In Greek life, you're supposed to live in a house on campus, but they are secretly flying under the radar. So basically, they've allowed him to move out off campus. This happened off campus, and now this kid got an apartment? What? Wow. He says he's moved out and he got an apartment. Maybe he was living at the Whites, but I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, in the book Broken Plea, it says that Pete is in apartment number 5. In his other interview that took place 4 days after this, between that time frame and now, Pete has just stated for the record he's moved out and has his own apartment.
Still chugging away, taking our laptops, uplinking in, whatever we need to do. But we also were rotating people to get fresh people in, and of course there's a brief process, then we kick them out. But we've collected more data, more footage, more statements than I've ever seen collected on any investigation in 20 years. It's impressive. I mean, truly impressive. I've been to schools all around the nation, know officers from, some of the largest agencies, NYPD, all the way down to some of the smallest agencies, people of 4 or 5 people. And I've never even heard of anything like this. So Moscow PD really did the right thing. They started calling in for assistance and compiling this team. And when we got here, we have connections with all kinds of other organizations and started bringing them in. It's really, it's quite impressive. What I can tell you is we have literally talked to thousands of people. And both what I call like a triage. In other words, let's just say there's a room full of 100 people and a fight breaks out. And you arrive. First thing you want to know, what happened? So you start asking people, what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? And pretty soon you find that person that says,
sitting right next to them.
Right. And that's when you bring them in and you sit them down and you interview them. Right. So
that's why we're here today, right? Speculation, right? Oh, wow.
You maybe end up with 10 that actually.
No, he's trying to build trust with this guy. He's trying to build trust and basically say, look, I'm on your side. I want to know everything. And they know that he is the last person to see Ethan.
Actually saw what happened. Yeah. Unfortunately, you get 10 different accounts of what happened, and that's in perspective. This person was privy to, the argument wasn't started by subject X, it was started by subject Y was the primary aggressor, but the other person sees it the other way around or something. So it has been really impressive that way. The thing is while we have some great leads and we have a lot of people of interest that we've narrowed down, unfortunately, that we have not got to the point where we can effect arrests.
Right, but you guys have no doubt that you're going to get this motherfucker.
Yeah. Keep in mind, this is, it's a good thing. It really is. I'm a person, I believe in Constitution. I served after the college. I served 8 years in the Marines. I love our nation. I love our Constitution. Yeah, thank you. So I mean, I love the fact that we have our balancing of government, and I love the fact that the government kind of has rules, right? Unlike other nations. But sometimes those rules are very tough, especially when you're the person working within those rules. You can't just go out and violate people's rights. And I fully agree with that. And I acknowledge that. It takes time to get warrants. It takes time to follow up on these. It takes time to process physical evidence. So that, and a lot of that's just kind of high level. Unfortunately, I can't go into nuts and bolts with you because, again, I can't change your knowledge base. But does that help at all?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Feel a little better.
Like I said, we've spoken to thousands of people.
Yeah.
We're getting there, but that way. It's not an easy case by no means.
No, yeah, it's not.
First question on family background. Identify Ethan's family members. Knew his parents, Ethan, girlfriend Zena.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity to sit down with him the other night. Great people.
Yeah. I actually, that same day I helped him move out Ethan's stuff out of his apartment.
Okay.
And his apartment was over here. You know that dentist office is right here, close right here. I think he's across the street from that. Help move out of that, and then
Yeah, we went into his apartment.
yeah, they probably didn't find anything.
No,
Yeah.
and to me, I mean, you tell me. It looked like he never slept there.
He didn't. He didn't ever sleep there.
I mean, it looks
He
like
slept there like 4 times the whole semester.
yeah, he had 2 beds in there, right? And both of them looked like they were somewhat made. I mean, they were made.
Yeah.
But I would almost call it a sterile environment.
Oh yeah, he never was there ever.
So if he wasn't there, where was he?
He was always at Xana's apartment, stayed there every night pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he wasn't there at Xana's apartment, would he stay over at the frat?
He would never not stay at Xana's, as far as I know.
Okay.
Yeah, he would never pass out at the fraternity ever, I don't think.
Okay.
Not that I know of. He never went in my room. He would always get walked home.
So he says that Ethan's apartment was over at the dentist by the dentist office. So did y'all pick that up? I'm going to take a look at something since we're on a live. You know, my lives will take us anywhere where the evidence leads. So let me just take a look at something. And then someone said it was also by the 76 gas station. And yesterday he said it was kind of far. It was kind of far to walk. Why would Ethan not be driving? That just kind of odd to me. So let's see where there's a dentist office in Moscow, Idaho, where also the A&W would be over by the 76 station. And there's, let me just see, there's 1, 2, has anybody ever looked into this? 76, here it is. Across the way, there would be the gas station. Tap House. Let me just take a peek over here. Nature's Way Dentistry on 6th. I wonder because there's a lot of calls. That's the only dentist that I see over there by Gritman Medical Center. Where's the 76 station? Hold on, let me see. 76 gas station. Let's just see. That is over on Main Street. Oh yeah, there is a dentist right there. Okay, that's interesting. Let me show you what I found. This is so interesting, folks. All right, let me just go. This is the gas station, 76 gas station. That's the A&W. And this is a dentist apartment. But where would he live? The notice is an apartment building. Let me just take a peek at this. Those are apartment. This looks like an apartment rental place. These are apartments over here. Hill Rental Properties. Let's just take a peek. Maybe over here. The 76 station is over here. Looks like a house here or something. Those look like the little apartment buildings. These are apartment buildings. Those are apartment buildings. Taylor Street. Those look like the dentist office is right down here though. Right here. A dentist here. And he said across the street. So what's here? That's a bus stop. What is in here? A high school. So it couldn't be over there. What is this? Looks like office buildings. Maybe back here? Levick. There's the 76 gas station. Oh, that's a nice GMC. There's the 76. Let me take a peek. A&W. There's some apartments over here. Palouse View. I wonder if he got an apartment that maybe one of the places that, oh, there's a creepy guy. Maybe at one of the apartments that Xana worked for, right? I mean, is that possible that he picked up a place, a location that Xana knew, maybe a rental somewhere around here? Someone said he lived by a storage facility. Isn't that like a isn't that no, that's Surf Pro? A storage facility. I don't know what that is. Let's go look. There's the 76. It's like a furniture store or something. And it only goes November. That's so weird. Just keep that in mind when we go through this, because how far is it from what? It's right down the road. It's like right down the road. That's where he lived. Over there. Sterile, like BK's. Yeah, that's what I said. If BK had relatives unknown to him or others, what does that mean for IGG? We're going to talk a little bit about IGG. Let's finish with this interview real quick. And I have it on a little bit faster speed, so we'll get through it.
Which was Xana's.
I got you. What year are you? Okay. So at the frat, do you have your own room?
I live with one other guy, but yeah.
So yeah, the two room.
Man,
yeah, versus the 4 or 6 or.
Yeah, there's 2 mans and 6 mans.
Okay.
Another thing, I don't know if you guys know that Ethan's not a freshman, right? I keep saying that Ethan's a freshman.
Yes, we know all this.
Okay.
We've tried to correct them. They were unwilling to make changes. That's fine, because they don't want to act like they don't know.
Yeah, like the university is the one that's putting that.
We have their full academic records. We have everything.
Yeah, he's a sophomore. He was a sophomore.
Yeah, that's on them.
Yeah.
We can only provide them information if they want to correct themselves. They can correct themselves, but what happens when they correct themselves?
They look bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it causes doubt, and then they start losing viewership, and when they lose viewership, they lose marketing capital, right? And it goes on and on.
Yeah.
So, have you ever been to the Chafin's place?
I have. They keep saying they want to bring me up during break, but I haven't been there before now.
Okay. Did Ethan ever go down to your folks?
Nope. He was gonna do that this break. He was gonna come down and visit, but yeah.
That would have been pretty cool for him.
Yeah, it would have been sick. Gonna do that. Come get a change of scenery. Work a few days down there.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It does the mind and body good.
Mm-hmm. Get on the back of a horse. It's like a different type of therapy.
Yeah, it is, definitely. Describe quality, positive, negative, Ethan's relationship, strengths, bonds, surrounded by love. Hardly ever had arguments, kind of goofy, quick to laugh.
Super goofy.
So I want to, obviously there's going to be things I'm going to queue up on, right? I understand, really gregarious guy.
Mm-hmm.
He'd kind of be the center of attention,
Oh, yeah.
unwantingly, not unwillingly, but unwantingly.
Yeah.
It sounds like just the people I've spoken with and thus far is he just kind of had a way of drawing people towards him, which is pretty cool. Never had arguments. I'm going to queue up on this one. So we all have conflicts. We all have, sometimes it's with siblings, sometimes it's with friends, whatever. I know that people got kicked out of parties out of their house, out of Xana's house periodically and things like that. If there were an argument, how would Ethan handle that?
Now, he is sitting down talking with Joe Lake, so they're not on the phone, just so you guys know.
He wouldn't yell. That's for one thing. He'd keep his voice, the bass in his voice would be low. Would be real with them, and I don't know, like, yeah.
You
He wouldn't
ever
even use
observe any of that?
No, I've kicked people out of parties because I'm not afraid to be a dick, but but he's kind of doesn't want to. He doesn't like altercation, so I mean, I really haven't seen that.
He doesn't like altercations. Does he mean confrontation? Confrontation is much different than altercation. Did Ethan get into an altercation?
To say something before. No, it'll come back. Damn it.
Talking about altercations, kind of.
No,
damn
before
it.
that. Damn it. It wasn't anything big.
What the hell? Why does he say damn it? Because he used the wrong word? Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me.
We all have, sometimes it's with siblings, sometimes it's with friends, whatever. I know that people got kicked out of parties out of their house, out of Xana's house periodically and things like that. If there were an argument, how would Ethan handle that?
He wouldn't yell. That's for one thing. He'd keep his voice, the bass in his voice would be low. Would be real with them, and I don't know, like, yeah.
You ever observe any of that?
No, I've kicked people out of parties because I'm not afraid to be a dick, but but he's kind of doesn't want to. He doesn't like altercation, so I mean, I really haven't seen that. I was gonna say something before. No, it'll come back. Damn it.
Talking about altercations, kind of.
No, just before that. Damn it. It wasn't anything big.
Well, here's the interesting thing is sometimes even the smallest things help us solve the case. So you said he doesn't like confrontation.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
He doesn't like confrontation because he likes his image and like how he's viewed by other people, which is how a lot of people are. I know I'm that way, but not as much as he was. Like, he didn't like being a dick to people, being rude, mean,
Right.
kicking him out of party type deal. And when he was in the wrong, he would admit it. He wouldn't like argue with it about it.
Okay.
He knew he was in the wrong, that type of thing.
That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Especially if someone who's 20.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know if he had any beefs or any bad blood with anyone?
Oh, here's what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say, like, he and
his brother? What? It's redacted, guys. It's not me.
Okay. So minor arguments.
Super minor, yeah. Not anything we didn't do.
You have any siblings?
Disagreements. So him and his brother had disagreements?
No.
Okay. Okay. Do you think Ethan had that same sense of responsibility? He kind of seemed like the leader of the trio.
Yeah, he definitely did. He was definitely the most mature.
God, all this redaction. Come on. Redacted, 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 redacted.
Okay. You don't know of Ethan getting in any trouble, being arrested, having court involvement, anything like that. From what I understand, because that was one of the first things I asked, is how many times has law enforcement been called to that residence? It sounds like you got called there a few times for parties.
The residents they were killed at?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's been law enforcement called there a couple times.
Residents, they were killed out? Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it sounds like everyone generally runs out the back. And
yeah.
It sounds like everyone generally runs out the back. What?
Scatters.
Or just stays in the house, yeah.
I joke about this, but it's true. When I was in college, I paid my rent by having keggers.
Yeah, that's what one of the guys told me about that.
And so I get it. I truly do.
Yeah.
That's why I said the only thing I care about is finding the person that's responsible for this.
Right.
We all had youthful indiscretions, right?
Yeah.
Describes Ethan's personality, bubbly, which made people love him, love being around him, pardon me. Very personable.
Yeah.
Okay. How was he in the frat? Because I know there can be some.
Yeah, no, he was not allowed to live in the house because of his grades.
Okay.
Back-to-back semesters, he had GPA below 2.75, which we consider that deficient. So he needed to get above a 2.75 to live in the house the next semester. So that's why he was living way over here in this apartment. And so he was still a member though, like he was still invited to all of our stuff, just couldn't live in the house.
Is that part of the national rules?
Yeah. And
So he had to live out of the house for that semester. So was he moving back in after the semester?
it's adjusted by our house bylaws too.
Okay. What position do you hold? Do you hold a position with Fred?
I'm the
Pete was what? I didn't know he had a position in the frat. What was Pete? Does anybody know? Pete's position in the frat.
Okay. Did Ethan hold any positions? No.
No.
GPA, pretty.
yeah.
Okay. But he's pretty well liked by all the brothers?
Yeah.
Twin brothers?
Everyone
Okay.
loved him. Obviously, there's a couple people that looked at him like he was lazy because his grades weren't the greatest, but that was very few.
Okay. Do you know of any beefs within the fraternity? And not just within the house itself, maybe with other
fraternities.
Yeah.
No, there was always people that me and Ethan would talk shit about just because they're obviously odd or weird or annoying or, the typical college humor type of thing, making fun of people behind their back. I mean, Ethan kind of did that a little bit to like a couple people. No, he didn't really have any beef. No beef. He never started any of that.
Can you tell me about some people you guys thought were odd? Maybe that were kind of within the circles?
Yeah. The names?
Hmm?
He doesn't think we're weird because he asked me, like, hey, you think I'm weird or something? He's like, no, man. So, but it's spelled with a C. It starts with a C, yeah. I don't think at all he has anything to do with it, but since you asked,
yeah. Anyone else?
Human. We just didn't like him because he's.
What's the spelling of his last?
Did he say Bangman? Mason Bangman? He was the treasurer? Pistol Pete? What?
I'm sure I have it on the list.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's what came to mind when I was talking about that.
Okay. Anyone else just kind of like a creeper, lurking around here or there? Or I know fraternities, I know how it works and everything else. I wasn't part of one in school. I was working my ass off and going to school and everything else.
Your way through it, huh?
I was.
Yeah.
Didn't take any loans. I was pretty proud of that. But a lot of my buddies were.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's kind of interesting because, it's tight circle, but yet there's always this kind of loner or two that are just
odd.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone like that?
Awkward. Not really. That guy's a little awkward. But that's all I can really think of. Maybe not necessarily awkward. He's a douche. Literally.
Okay. That's fair. I mean, I'm asking, I'm picking your brain for a reason on these things.
Yeah.
Anyone else that you can think of? I mean, again, just that kind of person that maybe pervs up on the girls or something, even whether it be a formal or just, a party or anything.
Actually, yeah. I don't think he has anything to do with it, but I have heard in the past he was saying weird shit to the girls, specifically the girls in that house. What's his freaking name? Wait a second. I'll take a minute to find this. Oh, I got it. Yeah.
Jack Showalter. Is that what he said? Did he just say that?
Specifically the girls in that house. What's his freaking name? Wait a second. I'll take a minute to find this. Oh, I got it. Yeah. Hello.
Of course they redacted.
He was friends with all of them though, so I don't think he has anything to do with it. But I mean, I've heard of him. I've heard people say that he said some weird stuff to the girls. weird stuff as in like sexual shit stuff. I didn't hear that for myself, by the way. I was told that.
That's fair. Anyone else?
No, but I do have another name of people that Ethan and I thought were weird and really, really annoying. One of the guys, his name is
Whoa.
Okay.
and that's all I got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he has it. I don't think any of these people have anything to do with it, but I don't know. I honestly don't know. You know.
Oh, remember I talked about how, okay, there's a room of 100 people and a fight breaks out and we,
yeah.
You know, a lot
If
of
anything,
times,
maybe some of these names could help you too.
yeah, I mean, a lot of times, you know, we go out there and we triage, we talk to a bunch of people, and then we come back and we talk to them 2-3 more times. And sometimes, you know, same names get mentioned and other things of that nature. And it doesn't mean that they're guilty or anything else.
Yeah.
It just means maybe we need to have a more of a one-on-one with them and just sit down and chat.
Yeah.
Right. So that's all. And it helps us out. I mean, because even though he or any of these may have nothing to do with it, maybe they recognize something that you haven't, right? They recognize that loner that is always lurking beyond where you're looking, right? Because they themselves, you know, you think about multiple circles, right? And here's your purview of what's going on. And because they aren't necessarily in that inner circle, they're out here. They not only, you know, you see part of that circle, but you never see this outlying circle, right? And maybe they are privy to that. And you never know. Like I said, it can help out.
For this one, I remember that Ethan's the one that told me what he was saying, some of the shit stuff.
Okay.
Ethan had told me that the next day.
Okay. Who, from what, you know, talking with admits that Ethan shared a lot with him. They had done, but he said if there was anything that was dark, he would share it with people.
Oh yeah.
So is there anything like that, any person out there that Ethan's just mentioned before, he's like, I don't like that guy, or man, that guy creeps me out, or anything of that nature?
We both didn't like.
You know what?
Not because he.
You know what I find really odd is they are really trying to understand who Ethan is. It's really strange that they're asking these questions that don't really make sense in regards to Ethan. Like they're trying to get these kids to say some name that they're waiting for, or to learn something about Ethan that these kids may know.
Not because he's done anything bad to us or any of that, just because he's really, really awkward.
What does he look like?
Curly hair, chubby-ish, kind of slender, chubby kind of build, acne.
Okay.
Yeah.
So probably not real popular with ladies.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Yeah. But I also wrote in here, or the gal wrote in here, you're saying if he had any, like, I don't know the way to put it, but he was telling me that it was really hard to date Xana, which that might be irrelevant right now. But the reason he said was because she was really also had a super bubbly personality, which was really attractive, and guys flocked to her even though she had a boyfriend. And being Xana, she wouldn't entertain it, but just the attention she got from it would get Ethan jealous.
Okay. No, that's important to know.
Yeah.
I mean, by all accounts, they had a great relationship.
Yeah.
And I can see that she's kind of fun and gregarious, just like he is.
Yeah.
So it'd be safe to say that Xana had other admirers, but she never allowed those to.
Yeah, exactly.
Any of those jump to the front of the page for you?
No, she wouldn't. Yeah, none. Because people kind of knew, oh, you don't mess with Ethan because he was a huge dude. You don't want to mess with him. Yeah.
Okay.
He's like 6'4". Big old dude.
So it'd be safe to say Xana had other admirers, but she belonged with Ethan.
Yeah.
Okay.
She never. Yeah.
Never acted on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of his habits, like Xbox, football.
But it seems odd that all these guys had not all these guys, but some guys had dated Xana, and they're in the same frat and they're okay with Ethan dating Xana. Is that like really okay? And that's what I was getting to, no talkie before coffee. Xana dated Pete before, right? And that's what it seems like. And forgive me if I think this, but I just have to finally say this and get it off my chest. And it might be a little spicy, it might be a little bit feisty, but I feel like these girls were owned and they can only date certain individuals. That's kind of how I feel. It's weird. I can't explain it. I cannot explain this. Like they were only allowed to date certain people. Has anybody ever felt that way? Are they like that within the frats and the sororities? Like you can only date certain people? Kind of like I don't want to say arranged marriages, but like you can only date certain people. Does anybody ever pick up that vibe before? Anybody? No, you can't date so-and-so because they're from so-and-so and their parents are X, Y, and Z. No, you can't date so-and-so. Does anybody ever pick up that vibe? Or, yeah, weirdos. Like that. If that is true, I'd like a picture. If anybody has a picture out there, I would love to know if this is true and whose lambs would they sacrifice? Well, okay, you're saying the stuffed animals. Yes. I shared that on a live a while back. That's odd. We're seeing the signs and signals, right? I kind of feel like that's how they seen the women within the sororities. Kind of like in the book that we're going over, Among the Bros. There was like 3 girls to 1 guy, right? Or something of that nature. And it was kind of like they fought over who they were going to date or who was it okay to date, or it seems something odd. It seems something odd. Like Ethan was in the house to protect the girls that no longer wanted to be a part of all this and who they said they had to date, and they just did what they wanted. And it was like a snub in the frats and the sororities' face that they were doing what they wanted on their turf. Right? That's what it feels like to me.
All sports, partying with his friends. Worked a lot with sounds like kind of all-American kid these days, right? Mm-hmm. You play Xbox?
No. I play a little bit of PlayStation, but it's not even my PlayStation. It's my roommates, and then I play on my but I don't play a whole lot.
Good. Yeah, that's your brain. You need those for being a future titan of business.
Yeah.
Okay. Did he play a lot online, like with other players?
Yeah. He played a lot online, but with other fraternity members.
Like local?
Yeah. He like play Rocket League.
I don't even know what that is.
Huh?
I don't even know what that is.
I've watched people play it before, but I've never played it. It's just like you kick a ball with a car, or you hit a ball with a car trying to make it. It's like soccer with a car or something. Yeah. It seems stupid, but whatever.
Any recent positive or negative changes? He was always happy.
Yeah, I can't. Nothing. Literally nothing.
Okay. Significant events prior to his death? Have none.
Yeah.
And Xana's still getting along well?
Just what I told you. Yeah. That's it.
Later truth.
Was there any one person more so than another that he would be jealous of?
No.
That maybe was showing, attention towards Xana.
She wouldn't let that happen either. She wouldn't, like, if somebody was starting to get touchy-feely with her, she would back off, like, get away from me type deal. But yeah, no, he never said anything to me about being more uncomfortable with one dude towards her than another guy. Like,
okay.
And that was the first time the night they got killed, that night was the first time that he had mentioned to me that it was hard dating her. So.
When did he mention that?
When we were at the formal. Okay. We went to the formal for Kappa Alpha Theta that night. He went with his sister and hung with another gal.
How did you take his comment towards you? I mean, you know him really well. Kind of how he was projecting the comment. How did you take it?
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I grabbed him aside, took him outside, and I was like, okay, let's go have a beer and talk about it. And we went and talked about it. And he kind of just elaborated on it because at first he said, "It's hard dating Xana." I was like, "What do you mean?" And then we kind of went outside and talked about it. And he told me about how like she is always like surrounded by dudes because of her personality, and I guess he was a jealous individual, which I didn't catch that. Yeah, it was just short. We were outside for a short time, and then we went back inside.
Okay. Yeah. But he didn't say any one person or another.
Okay. No.
Okay, so I see a red flag. Private Gemini, what's the red flag? That basically that there was probably some type of jealousy there involved? Was Xana maybe looking at someone else? Because if that's the case, then Pete pulled Ethan out and said, hey, let's talk about this. And then just a few hours later, he gets a text from, AKA whatever the girl's name was, that, dude, you're getting cheated on, right? So he gets this Erica message at 5:03. He's saying they're at the formal, so that's 9 something. And then again at 12 at night, I think it was 12:30ish, he gets another message that, dude, you're being cheated on. So, of course, this was on Ethan's mind. Of course, it's already been messing with his mind all night. So that's kind of where Ethan was, right? His mind, and I know we've talked about this before, so his mind is like, okay, so I'm separated from Xana. I'm at this party. I get a message right before we go to this party with my sister that I might be getting cheated on. Xana goes home to change, so they're separated there. It sounds like they were trying to separate these individuals on purpose, in my opinion.
Pardon me. Other than that, sounds like things were normal.
Yeah.
Risky behaviors. Drinking that night and had played Xbox too. What about poly use? And what poly use is like combining, whether it be a prescribed medication with alcohol or maybe an illicit narcotic or something like that with alcohol. Were they into that at all?
No, he took he might have taken an Adderall that night.
Why do you think that?
He said he would take Adderall because he needed energy.
So Pete knows what he was taking. Everybody seems to know that he was taking this Adderall, but where was he getting it?
Does he normally take Adderall?
Not every time he drinks, but I mean, it's a good. He takes it a good amount.
He takes them for energy.
Yeah.
Is he prescribed those?
No.
Where's he getting them from?
Anyone, people, I don't even know, honestly. People that he texts people.
Okay.
Dude, he's got to know. Everyone knows.
You know.
So even though it's a prescription med, there's kind of this way to get them.
Yeah.
Okay, but it wasn't.
I'm not even sure who it was. No, he doesn't have a prescription.
Okay.
I don't even know if he has a prescription for anything, honestly. I don't think he does.
He knew right away.
I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I'm almost positive he doesn't have a prescription for that.
Okay.
He knows everything about him.
His daily schedule.
He knows everything about him, and then he says he doesn't have a prescription. I mean, you know him. They don't want to say. I know he doesn't have one, but he's getting it from somewhere, but I just don't know. They know.
Get up, breakfast, go to class, do homework, study for quizzes. Usually we come over, just hang out, watch movies, play Xbox nearly every day. That's what I hear is you two are pretty
Yeah.
Pretty tight.
Yeah.
When you guys were hanging out, what would you guys talk about?
Anything and everything going on. What the plan was for the rest of the day, what we're going to do tomorrow.
This guy knew everything about him, just like I told you about the protocol. But yet he says, I don't know what he was wearing. And I don't know when the last time it was that I saw him. It was about this time. And
how school's going. Girls, talked about girls a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, just typical boy stuff.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Would you say that the focus was more on what you're going to do tomorrow, what you're doing today, in other words, yet to happen today, or was it?
yeah, so allegedly JB was his best friend's initials. And we'll talk about this in another stream. I definitely have some information on that too, Karma's.
What was in the past?
If we ever talked about the past, it'd mainly just be talking about like good memories, like, oh, last weekend was so fun, we should do that again, type of deal. But,
Okay. So you're more looking forward to future
Yeah.
events than,
Yeah.
than dwelling on past events or recapping
100%.
positives.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about some of the girls. There's some of Zana's roommates, very attractive. You ever hook up with any of those girls?
Why did they redact it? What? Why did they redact that?
You ever try with any of the others? Okay.
No, I always thought Maddie was really pretty, but I never like tried anything with her because she had that boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your boyfriend?
I think his name's Jim, right?
Okay. You know him at all?
No, I've never met him. I've just seen pictures of him.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he graduated last year, I think, right? I don't know. Maybe he did.
It's hard for me to add
Yeah.
information. Right?
Yeah.
Really thought Maddie was pretty. Of course they'd redact more. Come on. All
The
redacted.
thing and date.
All right, here we go. Come on. Spill the beans, Pete. We want to know.
I was friends with Ethan before he and Xana were started becoming a thing and dating, but I mean, it didn't hurt, that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Ethan
Having
know
comment-
that?
Wait a minute. How long did Pete date Xana? Because Xana also dated Mason Bangerman. And Mason Bangerman is the one that got caught and popped with drugs in Caldwell. Well, obviously the arrest. But what? So then we're talking about 3. So it had to have been Pete, then Mason, and then Ethan? All within a matter of a year?
Yeah, he knew that. And this was way prior to them dating.
Of course, they redacted it again. Come on. Give us some good stuff, Pete. Spill the beans.
And she's pretty rough. I'm not super close with Dylan.
Let's see. Here we go. Come on. Spill the beans.
I mean, is she?
I haven't talked. I'm not super close with Dylan.
Okay.
I saw her at
I'm
the
not
funeral.
super close
I
with
didn't talk
Dylan.
at Xana's funeral this last weekend. I didn't really talk to her though. I talked about her just a little bit, and she's pretty rough shape.
Yeah, we're gonna bring in someone to help her out a
Okay.
little bit. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So okay. You thought Madison was good looking, but you never.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
never pursued anything because she had a boyfriend.
And then what about Kaylee?
I didn't think she was attractive, so I never went for her.
Okay, that's fair.
Just not my type.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on social media a lot.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, one of the analysts that's working on my team looks at them, and that's her job as an analyst is to kind of decipher a bunch.
Wait a minute. Hunter? Wait a minute. Back up. You're right. I've heard now. Let me just get this right. Xana dated Pete. Then she dated Mason Bangerman. Then she dated Hunter Chapin. Then she dated Ethan. Did I miss anybody in there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I miss anyone? He dated XK also. Sure, Ethan. Seems like it was a setup. Sure, Ethan was goofy. Yeah, I just want to make sure I got this right. First it was Pete, then Mason, then Hunter, then Ethan. Oh, why do you think the girls had new frat boys as their littles? Well, I always thought something was going on here. I always, I thought you couldn't date your little. And Hunter and Ethan was Xana's big, wasn't he? You couldn't date him. Yeah, makes sense. Here we go. And they had to get approval to date. Interesting. Well, who was Hunter dating at the time? Among the bros to another level, right? Yeah, I absolutely agree. So who was the, I don't want to say who was the pimp, but if Pete was the high man on the pole and then Mason was the lower guy, then Hunter and Ethan were the freshmen that came in that year. And it didn't work out with Hunter, and then she started dating Ethan. They really only dated 6 months or maybe 9 months max. So everybody that was saying, "Oh yeah, they dated a year," I wonder if they just said that because she was dating Ethan Hunter, right? They were related.
Things, and she's like, they were really close to being social media influencers. Just because of their following groups and other things of that nature, their charisma through the lens of a camera, that way. Did you recognize that, or did anyone else recognize that, they had that ability?
I just noticed that their Instagram accounts are just typical sorority girl Instagram accounts. They have a bunch of followers and they do up their photos to make them look really good and post them, and they're all about the likes and comments and all that stuff, but I didn't really think anything about that.
Modern. I mean, I've got a daughter in the same age group, so yeah, I get it. Okay. Who was Ethan seeing before he and Xana got together?
He wasn't in a relationship with anyone prior to my knowledge, but he had hooked up with a couple girls. I don't even know their names though, but I know he had hooked up with a couple of different gals before, but it was way prior.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, they know. Gosh. They have to prove, right?
Okay. Xana, his girlfriend, for being close.
Yeah.
And then
me and Xana were still really good friends after that all. We just kind of got past that whole thing and kind of realized we're not little kids anymore. We don't have to be all awkward around each other. So we just we're really good friends and we stayed pretty close.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Do you ever go hiking with them or whatever?
No.
Boating or anything of that nature?
No. Because I don't live close. So during the summer when you do all that boating activities and stuff,
Yeah.
Really odd.
I was just going over your statement about, what Ethan had to say.
Good.
I don't think we need to cover that again.
I think, in my humble opinion, at this level, especially since we've been doing the book study on Among the Bros, holy moly, to the way the life of the frats and sororities, when they talk about there was, 7 girls to 1 guy or whatever, or 3 girls to 1 guy, it was kind of like they were trying to connect the right people with the right people so that they would be accepted by their families, right? And, like arranged marriages, right? And then you get to college and you meet all these different people and you kind of figure out you're your own person. I don't know if I want to date this person. Well, maybe they're not accepted by your family, right? It's kind of like real life, but this is like mini real life before they get out into real life. It's kind of like a transition between high school bullshit drama and dating drama. And then real life is when you leave college, kind of like math, right? They make you take all this hard math in high school and junior college or college. And then when you get to the real world, you don't even use that freaking math, right? I kind of feel like it's in between stage.
That's a really interesting statement. Is describe how Ethan interacts with strangers. He said he didn't know strangers. Everyone knows his friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he do any part-time work or anything like that?
No, not currently. He just worked in the summertime. Saved up for that semester's worth of, or that year's worth of groceries and stuff.
Do you know what kind of business his dad runs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. And then he worked as a waiter too. I think I put that in there somewhere. He worked as a waiter during the summer.
Yep.
It's like they're trying to get into their heads to get to know Ethan. Wait, this is so odd.
A couple of girls over at WSU.
Yeah, I don't know their names, but I saw them around last year a couple of times, and they said that they knew each other from childhood friendships and stuff. But it was mainly hanging out with them because of family friends. I don't know. Ethan was never interested in them, but that's the only thing I can think of for that aspect or that question.
Okay. You ever meet Zana's sister?
Yeah, I'd met her a couple times before.
What'd you think of her?
Redacted. We're still waiting. Redacted. Holy moly.
Cell phone use. He's always on his phone.
Yeah.
Especially Snapchat, Instagram, social media apps, Snapchat, Instagram, frequently. Always with his girlfriend, surrounded by friends. Occasionally at the Mad Creek.
I'd go with him a few times to Mad Creek. But
Decent food?
no, I don't like the food. I just go with him because he didn't want to go alone, just because he didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Would you say Ethan was a little codependent?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I mean, yeah, you could say that.
I mean, very few people like being alone.
No,
in
I
the
don't
first
like being
place,
alone
but-
either. Yeah.
Right. It's always more fun when you have friends.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's so odd that he would even. I wouldn't view Ethan as codependent. Would you? Let me kind of get a read on this chat. Let me just get a feel for this. Let me do this. I have to do this because now I'm curious. All right, here we go. 1, yes. 2, no. Not sure. 3. Did I add another one? Not sure. All right, let's see. All right, here we go. Here's a poll. Do you see Ethan as codependent? Pete seems to think so, his best friend. And, maybe he doesn't understand what the word codependent is. And I've always seen Ethan, and Pete even explained that Ethan was the strong, protector, right? And, he made it through, obviously they went to school 1 year. He dated a few other girls. And it didn't seem like, to me, he would be codependent. That's just my opinion. But Hannah was outed to the church. Very odd. I thought it was odd that he asked if Ethan was codependent. And I've always kind of seen Ethan as being a protector for Xana, right? There was a reason that Ethan was staying there 6 nights a week. And I don't think Ethan, they're inserting a scripted narrative for Ethan. Ethan was suffering and not happy, but not suicidal, as his mom kept him trying to push the narrative for her new charity. Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, we can have a healthy discussion around this, right? Why were they why did they keep scripting the narrative? He was not in the frat because of his grades. He was a sophomore. They made sure that, even if he was a second round freshman, who cares, right? He's still paying another year to go to college. Ethan was suffering and not happy. Now, I've seen the Venmos from his mom to him and the other kids, but why was Ethan not going to see a doctor? Why did Ethan not have meds? Why did Hunter? Those are questions that I've seen in factual black and white and sharing their Venmo account. It's still on public. You can go and look. But why would they script this awful narrative for Ethan to demask? What do you mean? Kind of like to humiliate him that he wasn't a real man? I mean, what would be the benefit for them to do something like that? And then even with that statement I just said, even with the G's putting on the back of their car, and I've shared that article with you a while back, is that they didn't even mention Ethan's name on the back of their car. They just put IDAHO4, but they said RIP, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee. They totally left out Ethan. That doesn't make sense. So 100% of you think that, do you see Ethan as codependent? Said no.
When you say the door went close all the way, you're talking about the first level door?
Yeah, first level door. The one with the code on it.
Did you know the code?
Yeah.
Sounds like everyone knew the
Yeah.
code.
Ethan actually, I have it saved in his Snapchat, the code.
How many people do you think have the code? Just a guess. I know it's impossible to tell.
If I'm going to guess, I'd say like 20.
Okay.
20, 30.
Yes, that's the
For
word I was looking
legitimate
for.
reasons?
Yeah, to get in, like friends of them to be able to get in so they don't have to call them every time.
Okay.
Yeah. Friends of people that lived in the house.
Current situation number 2 is seeing it does anything like, and your bond was inseparable. How are you doing?
That's awful. I mean, friends borrow other people's clothes. The girls borrow other people's clothes. I don't know why they made fun of them. I mean, if Xana liked the team and Ethan was going to support her liking the team, sure, wear the same jersey or a variation.
Time heals.
Yeah.
Especially traumatic events, and those positive events start to take more form or more hold in our memory banks. So.
And seeing his parents this last weekend was really huge. I liked that a lot. Seeing his parents, talking to them about it, and it's good to see them all.
Yeah.
I feel better now than I did before I saw them. So that's good.
Gotcha. I'm good. I'm glad you're able to kind of work through it. You're a strong kid anyway. I mean, I can tell that you got a good head on your shoulders and whatnot. So
thank you.
If you run into any issues, you have my contact. I can get you in contact with a victim specialist where they can help you out a little bit, counselor or something like that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to see a counselor, sometimes it's not bad just to go and hear their spiel about grief and other things of that nature. Sometimes it just helps coping. Okay. So I'll leave that up to you. If that's something you want to do, just get in touch with me and I'll get you in contact with them. Okay.
Okay.
5 things that could have led to Ethan's death. Maybe an altercation.
Those were all really skeptical though. I mean, I didn't know what to put. I'm just trying to maybe think of something to help you, but.
Okay, folks. Altercation. He just said it again.
Specialist where they can help you out a little bit, counselor or something like that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to see a counselor, sometimes it's not bad just to go and hear their spiel about grief and other things of that nature. And sometimes it just helps coping. Okay. So I'll leave that up to you. If that's something you want to do, just get in touch with me and I'll get you in contact with them. Okay.
Okay.
5 things that could have led to Ethan's death. Maybe an altercation.
Those were all really skeptical though. I mean, I didn't know what to put. I'm just trying to maybe think of something to help you, but maybe an altercation because I saw him. I was with he and Xana up until about 1:20 that night.
Okay. Where were you guys at?
At the Sigma Chi. And then I think they went back to their house. I'm not sure because I left. I left Sigma Chi and went to AGR and they didn't come with me.
Okay. So I'm just going to say this again, and I said it the other day. Did something happen where all of a sudden everybody scattered? Everybody ran down Taylor. Everybody was walking in different directions. Everybody got the hell out of there because they didn't want to be a part of what was going down.
AGR.
Yeah, they're our neighbor fraternity.
Why didn't they go?
Because their house is more like an agricultural type fraternity, and I have a lot of friends in there. A lot of them are, so I get along with them pretty well. Ethan really wasn't, and Xana wasn't either, so they kind of really didn't fit into that environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They have good parties at AGR?
It's not necessarily good parties. They just like hanging out with the dudes, listening to country music with them. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good time.
Yeah.
Good time. Door.
Does Pete know who did this? Drop a 1. I'm going to do another poll. Here we go. Ah, man. Hold on. All right. This is your opinion. Your opinion poll, guys. Okay? Oh, let's see. All right. There you go. Drop a 1 if you think Pete knows who did this to Ethan. Drop a 2 if your answer is no. Ethan was known for sponging off of friends when he didn't have money, and he did seem depressed after getting thrown out of the frat. Nothing will be clear as to what saw during rushing. So what about the pizza? Maddie, Molly, McDonald. I'm getting the vibe that Pete knows. These adults are not victims. That's why they passed the new amendment during the case that victims cannot be treated like witnesses or exempt from interrogation, testing, etc. Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I think everybody scattered when they knew what was going down. They realized. True. That is all true. The pizza timeline doesn't match Pete's. Say what? All right. We all have the same kind of vibe going on right here.
Might have been correct. Do you think that, I mean, the door has probably been left open before.
Oh yeah.
Why the door being cracked?
Oh,
Why do I
yeah.
think that? Because I've walked in there to go hang out with them before, or hang out. There's been a party there, and I'm going there, and the door's cracked. Like I won't have to put the code in, and I can really just push it open. That's why I think maybe that might be why.
Okay, an opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. The sliding door by the kitchen
Yeah.
could have been left unlocked. Was that commonly left unlocked?
I don't know, honestly. I don't know if they lock it at night or not. I'm assuming they do. I mean, if you're drunk, that probably is one of the last things you're going to think about is locking your sliding door. So I would assume it was unlocked.
Yeah.
I mean, when you,
Why is he asking the investigators a question back?
yeah,
You didn't list a number 5.
no, I couldn't think of anything. Because it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. I don't know.
Would you say everyone in the house was well liked?
Yeah,
Who
really
was-
well liked.
Who was not well liked?
Who made up the pizza story? Okay, who made up this pizza story, guys? Now, I showed you Jeff Carnodal was a graduate from the University of Idaho. Okay? He graduated from there. So I don't know who made up the story about the pizza that, they were all hanging out. Somebody had to make up the story. Yes, the story from the parents doesn't match. Just like most of the stories that were made up around this story.
Not just the victims, the survivors. Who was not well liked?
no one. There was no one that wasn't unliked. The only thing that I can think of is, and just because I heard it on social media and stuff, is that Kaylee had a stalker or something.
We've already ruled that out, yeah. There was an incident, by the way, just for clarification. It's unrelated to this, and we're taking action on it.
Okay.
And it wasn't just Kaylee, they're just creepers. Kaylee wasn't the only person that they followed around.
Yeah.
So
I had heard about that. Two men, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also heard another really disturbing thing from, I forget who, but and I haven't been repeating it because I don't think you guys want me to repeat this, but that Kaylee had her tongue cut out. Is that false? Okay.
There's a person that they followed around.
Yeah.
So
I had heard about that. Two men, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also heard another really disturbing thing from, I forget who, but and I haven't been repeating it because I don't think you guys want me to repeat this, but that Kaylee had her tongue cut out. Is that false? Okay.
There's always a lot of rumor on any of these cases, whether it's a murder case or something else, and it's people kind of speculate, and then that speculation becomes, I hate to even use this phrase because it drives me nuts, but it becomes their truth.
Yeah.
Because they want to believe something, and without having the knowledge or without having the facts or have seen it or been there, one thing or another, minds go wild. And we understand that, and we wish we could share more. But for the course of this investigation and the prosecution of the suspect,
Just to keep him without, like, so that he doesn't know as much as you, he doesn't find out as much as you know.
that's a
type of deal.
big piece of it. What we always do is we base it off of courtroom procedure and policy.
Oh yeah.
What can be admissible and what can't. Now, you get a bunch of stuff out there in the public, that's going to get quashed, because it's going to cause wildfire, and there's going to be all kinds of different angles coming at it and other things of that nature. So we really try to stick with facts and keep those facts tied to our vest, which we have to do legally.
Yeah.
For the preservation of that knowledge and evidence for when it transfers out from the executive branch, law enforcement part of the executive branch, into the judicial branch, right? So once it gets handed over, it really has to be every T crossed, every I dotted, and has to be precise. It can't be speculation. Speculation gets tossed out of court constantly. And the more information that's out there, the more speculation is generated.
Yeah.
Right. So that again is one of the procedural things why we can't release all the facts of this case. It still has to go in front of a jury.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the last questions here is so much information detailed about the dates during the week prior to his death. Parents' weekend.
This is a really good point, everyone. Reggie, you were spot on. Where would he even hear that from? Supposedly, none of the people that found them saw up close, or at least they acted like they didn't see much. So only the investigators at this time, December 5th, 2022, would know if that was true. He's the only one. Where did he hear this from?
Did you go to the tailgate party?
Parents' weekend. No,
Dad's
we
weekend, or
didn't. Yeah, no, we didn't go to the tailgate. We stayed at my apartment, and I made breakfast for my parents and my roommate's parents, and then we drank there a little bit before the game, and then we walked to the game right when it started because
the
it was raining.
U of I game or the WSU?
U of I.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was raining and it would have been miserable to go sit out the tailgate, so we just stayed at my apartment until the game started.
Smart.
Yeah, and then Ethan and his family came in over to my apartment like 30 minutes before we walked to the game, and
Okay.
we all walked over there together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything unusual on that day? Where was everyone else hanging? Because
They were around in their own apartments with their own families.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty big weekend up here? Parents'
Yeah.
weekend?
Both semesters, parents' weekend's pretty big. Yeah.
So I've heard there's mom's weekend, dad's weekend,
Yeah.
parent weekend. I don't remember any of that when I was in
Yeah.
college. I don't.
It's because it's bigger for fraternity and sorority life. Parents' weekend is.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you think about it, dorm kids, if they're
This is a really good question because I figured out yesterday there was a fifth victim. It was a she from a document we were reading, and we don't know who found her. We don't know who took her to the hospital. And if you know, please do share, because in the documents that we had been reading, we knew there was a fifth victim. So I don't know who it is.
Parents come up for parents weekend, where are they going to go? To the dorm and hang out type of deal?
Right.
Well, when you're in a fraternity or sorority, the parents can go hang out with you at your fraternity or sorority type of
I
deal.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I lived in an apartment.
Yeah.
So maybe. I mean,
That's what
I
my
was too
mom
busy
says
there.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It really does. Your parents come up very often?
Yeah. They come up for every parents weekend. And then when the day that this happened, I got on the phone with mom, told her, and my dad overheard. He was on the road in 15 minutes, and we live. So they come up whenever they feel we need it or something. So yeah, it's nice.
It's good of them.
Yeah.
And you're.
Yeah.
I know you've likely thought about this. But it's a question I like to ask because it has so much potential to answer. But what does this killer look like to you?
You asked me this the other day too, and I gave you the most average answer. But I can't. It's an average male. That's what I can picture. Average height, average. He's not overweight. I don't know. When I picture him, he's not overweight. He's like slenderish, average height. Yeah.
What's his background?
What do you mean? I see him coming from a family that was broken.
Okay.
Didn't have good parents. The parents weren't around a whole lot. Kind of. I think he, like, drug dealer type person. I don't know why. That has no.
Someone outside of societal norms.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
These answers.
Okay. And why would a person, to take someone's life that's big,
And especially a stabbing, that's so personal, to actually, yeah.
Why would someone do that?
They're sick. They're not normal. They're not what we would consider human. I don't know.
I also come from.
Redacted.
It's kind of interesting, like when you're branding and whatnot. I don't think anything of it. The cow feels very little pain.
Yeah.
It's going to sting.
No,
It's going to burn a little bit,
yeah.
right? But it's necessary.
Yeah.
Other people look at it and they may think, how cruel.
Yeah.
But we can rationalize it because of the need, right?
Right.
There's actually a legal need to brand your cattle,
Yeah.
right, and tag them out.
Yeah.
So there's a perspective there, but I think nearly every person also recognizes death is not a judgment call for one to make on their own accord, right?
Right.
So how is it this person can kill 4 people?
He doesn't have a religion. He doesn't believe in God. He's probably atheist. Yeah, I don't know. That's the only reason that I can think of, because based off what you said, like, it's not your spot to be able to do that. It's God's spot, and they obviously wouldn't believe in God if they did that.
It's insightful.
Doesn't have faith.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my family,
Is he talking about someone? Who is he? Who is this guy? Yeah, right, Caleb? Who is he, Pete?
That's a good guy.
Totally not Brian Koberger.
The suspect.
I don't know why this is coming to my brain right now, but 23, 24, 25. I don't know why. I don't know.
Well, let's break that down.
I kind of actually have a theory.
Okay.
I think that, I don't know if this is real or not, but I think that I have a theory that Kaylee had like an OnlyFans or something, or she had a sugar daddy or something.
Are they making up a story?
One of those pay sites.
Yeah, and she wasn't. How does do you know how they work? Like, she's supposed to send something or something, and they pay or whatever. I think that she didn't send something, or something along those lines, and they got mad and took. I don't freaking know. You kind of get what I'm saying, though.
I do, but where do you draw the line? $10, $20, $100, $1,000, $1,000,000.
I don't know.
How much value do you put on someone?
Me personally, I think a person's invaluable. a life is invaluable. I mean, you can't put a price on life.
Right. But that's using our own upbringing,
Yeah,
our own
I don't
values
know.
and morals.
I mean, if there's somebody sick, that the sick person that did this, I would say that they wouldn't, that price wouldn't really matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like to pick brains of young men like yourself and whatnot. I'm your parents' age, probably even a little older.
What's that?
I'm the same age as your parents,
yeah.
maybe even a little older. So things have changed so much in the last 20 years with social media and other things of that nature that I just like to kind of get an insight into your brain a little bit and why you're thinking the things that you think, because maybe that'll help us to identify, current values and norms versus abnormal, because things do change. We trend as a society, and there's different values based on different things. So what else can you tell me? What else? I mean, even if it's just something, a hunch, hypothesis, wild.
One of the reasons I think the whole OnlyFans thing or whatever is because she had that brand new Range Rover. Like, how did she buy that? If she bought it, I don't know if her parents helped her with that or whatnot. But that's kind of another reason why I think that, because Range Rovers are expensive.
They are.
But I don't know. That's another thing. I don't know.
How was everyone doing financially in the house?
Xana was fine. She was working at Mad Creek. She was fine financially. Ethan was good. Ethan was fine.
How did he know this? I mean, do you know your...
Ethan was fine. I don't know about the other two girls. Or the
husband's
other
finances?
roommates, because I was obviously closer with Xana and Ethan, so I really don't know what they were like.
I mean, were they like scrounging pennies and dimes and nickels to go get a hamburger or anything? No. Okay. I mean, it sounds like their bills were being paid on time. They all had gas in the gas tanks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Anything else that you can think of?
Have you guys looked at the footage? I know those cars were newer and they have backup cameras and cameras on the front. Those cameras on there, I don't know if those can catch anything while their vehicles are off, but that's another thing.
We have
I know you guys took the vehicles in for inspection and stuff or investigation.
yeah.
They did?
Yeah, like I said, we have a team of true subject matter experts. While it's related to the case, it's not evidentiary, but I watched this guy break out this really cool set of micro tools the other day, and it intrigued me because what the heck are you doing with those? Sat down at a bench and in less than 60 seconds, literally have this laptop stripped down to components, removing this little tiny memory chip from within, and then had a very special type of a reader that could extract the data in which he was seeking from that memory chip.
Wow.
Then reassemble the thing in about a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
Wow.
I was like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
That'll make your jaw drop.
right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, it was truly impressive. So that gives you an idea of the minutia that this team is diving into. And the driving force is most all of us have children. Some of us have children in the same age group.
Mm-hmm.
And every day, my wife asked me as we're driving back, like I said, it took us 2 days to get back just because weather was so crappy between Bend and Biggs. Visibility sucked, freezing fog, the road was crap. That took an entire day, which sucked. But she asked me, she's like, so what's the plan? And I said, well, probably not going to see me a whole lot. And and I said, well, let's put it in perspective. If this was our daughter, what would we expect?
Yeah.
And I think we all live up to that every day. We get up early and we get here and we go straight to work and we look at angles and motives and just every element. And then when we run out of that, we go and we grab someone and we say, what do you think? Yeah. And it refreshes and it opens up new avenues, and we continue to do that. And we continue to sit down and talk with people and process. And meanwhile, processing all the evidence from the scene and doing all the other things, sending it for testing with labs and all the other.
That takes a while though, doesn't it?
It does, just to work up, your standard biological. And I'm just being hypothetical here. I'm not talking case specific, but a normal case, a biological case might be 6 months of processing, just because it's backlogged. This case, everything is going to the front line and being processed.
Oh, is that right?
Oh yeah, nothing's being backlogged. We need to get this person.
In Utah, right?
No, we have our own state lab.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
We have some of the best forensic scientists in the Northwest working for us, working for the state police.
Gotcha.
Very good at what they do. But it'll still take several days to do those workups because of the processing that goes through all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. That's cool. I thought you guys were backlogged. I thought we were gonna have to wait 6 months for all the results.
Oh, no, coming out really quick.
That's awesome.
And of course, we brought up many of our forensic scientists to come help us process the crime
That was
scene.
sweet.
When did you leave? When did you head back down to California?
Monday. The Monday, that Monday
So
after.
that would have been the 14th?
Yeah.
Okay.
That Monday morning, like 10:30.
And did you go back down with your dad?
My dad, my brother, and my cousin. 'Cause
My cousin up here too?
my cousin up here too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys went back down, obviously, you're working.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been in contact with anyone from the school while you were off on vacation within that first, let's just say 72 hours? Did anyone reach out to you?
Like phone calls from the school.
Well, from fraternity brothers or from friends or
Oh.
anything?
I got texted by a couple of them just checking up on me, asking how I was doing, type of deal.
Okay.
But that was it.
Okay.
And then the weekend of Thanksgiving break, I was called by one of your guys' detectives and gave him a story, gave him like another kind of timeline type deal. But that was it.
Okay.
It might have been you.
They gave him another story, a timeline. What?
No, it was you.
No, I just talked to you that one time on the phone.
Yeah,
and, I'm leading the team, the victimology team, so it could have been someone on the team.
Gotcha.
Um,
It was a gal. It was a gal. Yeah.
okay. I know which one it was. So,
Yeah.
okay. Has anyone reached out to you that maybe is not someone who commonly reaches out to you?
A lot of people, yeah, like uncountable amount of people that I haven't spoken to in 5 years from high
Okay.
school or reaching out.
High school,
Yeah.
How about from the university?
Nobody really from the university besides fraternity brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That kid reached out to me and asked how I was doing.
Caleb, Jacob?
He reached out to me just to see how I was doing.
Okay. And it's with a C.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
If we need to talk again, would you be open to that?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't take so long. This is more of a in-depth.
Okay, great.
Greatly. Go ahead.
I'm leaving Wednesday.
Okay, so that's the end of the interview. And just so you know that Kathy Indy Zone did put out something in regards to Brian Koberger maybe filing for an appeal because of the other case in regards to Hunter and, what is it? Is it, hold on one second. It's in the Supreme Court. Oh, Hunter versus United States of America. So if you want to listen to that one at Kathy Indy Zone, I'll drop that in the chat. But one thing I want to leave you with this. We started with red flags. I've seen a lot of red flags in this case. I just heard a lot of red flags in this interview. And I have been live for quite some time. But let me leave you with this little tidbit of information. There is a time and a need for, in fact, good investigative genetic IgG, because genetic genealogy does lead to arrest. And this was a 1996 murder in Idaho, in Caldwell, Idaho. Brian Lay Drips was finally arrested from a 1996 murder. This murder was very well known in Idaho. And sadly, Angie Dodge's murder is not even spoken about hardly ever anymore. And they finally arrested the guy. It was the first time that they ever searched the DNA database. And if you don't know about that case, you can go learn about that case a little bit more. But they finally did finally arrest this guy after 25 years. 25 years, okay? And this was a hearing. This is about an hour long. I'm not going to get into all this, but this is about an hour long. It is on YouTube. I'll go ahead and I'll drop the link for you too, if you ever want to look into this case. Finally. Now, genetic genealogy can lead to some awesome things, but it can also give people hope where there's no hope. And we'll be talking about that specifically. So thanks for joining in today at Phoenix Talks. I'm your host, Phoenix. Greatly appreciate every single one of you that has arrived today. And keep in mind, we're here to find the truth in the IDAHO4 case. We're going to weed through all the BS we see, and our nesters here see things that other people miss. So make sure that you tune in. If you haven't, hit like, subscribe, and definitely do me a favor and hype. I know we've been here for a long time today, Love you all. Be well. And you all know the drill. And thank you, mods. We so appreciate it.
Yeah, you see it? It's all coming down. Let's go. The world wakes up, a brand new stage, new promise written on the page. We saw the cracks, turned a new age, tore up the script, got out the cage. Dig deep, they can't be stopped. A solid truth that can't be topped. For every voice they try to drop, we rise up higher from the crowd.
It's just the beginning.